to the King's Report this Friday, July 14th, 2017. I'm your host, Sean Moon, the second king of Chanugug. Now getting back to Dr. Evil, Jeff Bezos, the corporate conglomerate colluder with centralized criminal archangelic government. Amazon is getting too big and the government is talking about it. Hedge fund manager Douglas Cass says government talks about antitrust issues have begun about Amazon.com. Fresh off its biggest Prime Day yet, the Whole Foods Market Incorporated bid and a slew of announcements, including Amazon Wardrobe. Amazon.com Inc. was the subject of two investor calls Thursday that raised concerns that it is getting too big. In one case, hedge fund manager Douglas Cass said government intervention could be imminent. I'm shorting Amazon today because I've learned that there are currently early discussions and due diligence being considered in the legislative chambers in Washington, D.C. with regard to possible antitrust opposition to Amazon's business practices, pricing strategy, and expansion announcements already made, as well as being aimed at expansion strategies being considered in the future, wrote Cass, head of Seabreeze Partners Management. Cass said he's taking a short position on the stock or a bet that it will fall. Investors said the stock could fall 10% overnight once the market gets wind of the talks. Good. As Amazon has grown, so has speculation about which retail category will rule next. The company already dominates books to cloud and electronics. And with moves in fashion and grocery, it appears the company has its eye on those sectors next. Its dominance has created major stress for brick and mortar retailers who are suffering badly as they scramble to catch up. In January, European Union antitrust regulators cheered the end of audiobook exclusivity between Amazon and Apple Inc. And last August, Amazon's offices in Tokyo were searched by the Fair Trade Commission on suspicion that it was breaking antitrust laws. There you go. Amazon said Wednesday that Prime Day was its biggest day ever, with sales up 60% from the same 30-hour period the previous year. The Echo Dot was a bestseller, and the company said it gained more new Prime members on July 1st than any other day in its history. As usual, it did not provide any hard numbers. Cass bolstered his argument in a Thursday comment. My understanding is that certain Democrats in the Senate have instituted a very recent and preliminary investigation of Amazon's possible adverse impact on companies, she said. But in the Trump administration, we also have a foe against Jeff Bezos, who not only runs Amazon, but happens to own an editorially unfriendly to President Trump newspaper, The Washington Post. Nike-Amazon partnership, look at that. Oh, Nike, yeah, if you can, don't buy from Nike. Amazon has been busy this summer announcing its purchases of Whole Foods last month. Within days, it announced Amazon Wardrobe, a service that lets shoppers try on clothing and receive discounts when they purchase multiple items. Shortly after that, Nike Inc. confirmed that it would be selling a limited assortment on Amazon. Cass said he thinks the government discussions may have just begun and may never result in any serious effort to limit Amazon's growth plans, but he has been writing a series of columns about whether we've reached peak Amazon, and whether in an earlier column that the Whole Food deal puts Amazon vast power under the microscope. Is Amazon a productive change agent of force for the good of the consumer by virtue of a reduction in product prices? Or is Amazon's disruption of the general retail business a destroyer of jobs, moving previously productively employed workers into the unemployment line? It's exactly what it's doing. Amazon going to kill more American jobs than China did. Cass has previously expressed doubts about Amazon, saying in October 2014 that investors should avoid Amazon at all costs, and the company continues to fail to exhibit a cash flow return on any investment it makes. The stock has more than tripled its value since then. Steve Kaplan, a trader and true contrarian blogger, joined Cass on Wednesday with a short position of his own. Kaplan said Janet Yellen is incorrect and that a recession is looming, and that's what a lot of the real analysts are saying. He is skeptical about a few other big names too. We're likely to experience an especially severe recession since so much money has come out of safe time deposits like bank accounts and money market funds and has gone into fluctuating assets, including real estate, corporate bonds, stocks, and especially the most popular overpriced garbage, including Amazon, Tesla, Netflix, Nvidia, etc., Kaplan said. Now, let's go look and do a quick study on antitrust laws in the United States United States antitrust laws is a collection of federal and state government laws that regulates the conduct and organization of business corporations, generally to promote fair competition for the benefit of consumers. See that? For the benefit of who? Consumers, of you and me. It's got to benefit you and me. The concept is called competitive law in other English-speaking countries. The main statutes are the Sherman Act of 1890, the Clayton Act of 1914, and the Federal Trade Commission Act 1914. These acts first restrict the formation of cartels and prohibit other collusive practices regarding as being in restraint of trade. This is very interesting because 1914 was the year that the Federal Trade Commission was, the Federal Reserve Act was passed. That's when they allowed the banking cartels, this is supposed to be an anti-cartel act, but allowed the banking cartel to come in. I love how they name their acts exactly opposite of what it actually does. The Obamacare, Affordable Health Care Act, it actually makes healthcare more expensive. Unaffordable. I love it. The Patriot Act, it actually is an unpatriotic act, which allows for the FBI and CIA to write their own warrants to arrest you and to waltz into your home with no warrant from a federal judge. It's ridiculous. They name it always, these politicians name it because they know the people are too dumb and ignorant and too uninformed to not be able to understand that they confuse them with these nice little names. These acts first restrict the formation of cartels and prohibit other collusive practices regarded as being in restraint of trade. Second, they restrict the mergers and acquisitions of organizations that could substantially lessen competition. That's exactly the definition of Amazon. Third, they prohibit the creation of a monopoly and the abuse of monopoly power. And of course, these are very important laws that in Chunibuk will also be enacted by the archangelic government, which also has a role, but it's never be able to dominate because it only can reach 10% of GDP max, and the laws expire after 10 years.
The Constitution requires Congress to enact such laws, yes.
So anti-monopoly laws are absolutely essential. Now let's go to cartels and collusion here. Cartels and collusion, preventing collusion and cartels that act in restraint of trade is an essential task of antitrust law. It reflects the view that each business has a duty to act independently on the market, and so earn its profits solely by providing better priced and quality products than its competitors. The Sherman Act prohibits, quote, every contract combination in the form of trust or otherwise, or conspiracy in restraint of trade or commerce, end quote. This targets two or more distinct enterprises acting together in a way that harms third parties like government and corporate monopolies like Amazon. Is it fair that if you start a small business on eBay and you want to ship something, you have to pay the regular shipping cost while Amazon gets a reduced rate and they get paid $1.46 per package to ship? Is that fair? How are you going to compete against that? That's ridiculous. They're cheating by using collusive forces, working directly with the CIA Black Ops Assassins Group and the federal government bureaucracy, and lobbying millions of dollars per year to make regulations to destroy the competitors and to give themselves up advantages. They're cheating and destroying many, many jobs and many, many small businesses and many, many small companies. That's their stated goal of the globalists, centralists, political Satanists, etc. They want to monopolize. They're communists. They're neo-feudalist, which means communist, which means totalitarian fascist. That's what they are. Meanwhile, they want to blame Trump for being a fascist when the guy wants to have sovereignty and free markets. Give me a break. It does not capture the decisions of a single enterprise or a single economic entity, even though the form of an entity may be two or more separate legal persons or companies. In Copperveld Corp versus Independence Tube Corp, it was held an agreement between a parent company and a wholly owned subsidiary could not be subject to antitrust law because the decision took place within a single economic entity. This reflects the view that if the enterprise as an economic entity has not acquired a monopoly position or has significant market power, then no harm is done. The same rationale has been extended to joint ventures where corporate shareholders make a decision through a new company they form. In Texaco Inc. versus Dager, the Supreme Court held unanimously that a price set by a joint venture between Texaco and Shell Oil did not count as making an unlawful agreement. Thus, the law draws a basic distinction between concerted and independent action. Multi-firm conduct tends to be seen as more likely than single-firm conduct to have an unambiguously negative effect and is judged more sternly. Generally, the law identifies four main categories of agreement. First, some agreements, such as price fixing or sharing markets, are automatically unlawful or illegal per se. Second, because the law does not seek to prohibit every kind of agreement that hinders freedom of contract, if it developed a rule of reason, where a practice might restrict trade in a way that is seen as positive or beneficial for consumers or society. Third, significant problems of proof and identification of wrongdoing arise where businesses make no overt contract or simply share information, but appear to act in concert, like Facebook and Google and these colluders with one another to give themselves unfair advantages and to censor those who are against them. Tacit collusion, particularly in concentrated markets with a small number of competitors or oligopolists, have led to significant controversy over whether or not antitrust authorities should intervene. Fourth, vertical agreements between a business and a supplier or purchaser up or downstream raises concern about the exercise of market power. However, they are generally suspect to a more relaxed standard under the rule of reason. Of course, one of the biggest things they failed to mention here is collusion with the biggest criminal cartel on the planet, centralized federal government. See how that convenient left that out? Talking about only corporate entities. What about when you can collude with the dang federal government, which owns all the force in the universe or on the world? And you can use the power of force and the power of guns through the centralized government to steal taxpayer money to fund your operation like Freddie and Fannie Mae. But all these banker bailouts, Warren Buffett losing, how many billions did he lose? He lost like, $60 billion? And then he got paid back, all with federal funding, which means what? Stealing from taxpayer money. Give me a break. Without you even knowing you're paying for Amazon, without you even knowing they're stealing your money out of your taxes to pay for Amazon and give it an unfair advantage and destroy all competition, killing American jobs more than China. This man is an enemy to the state. Stop giving your money to the enemy! Yesterday, I finished all my I unsubscribed from all my subscriptions from Amazon, every single one. And I'm trying to, everything that I need to purchase, I'm trying to buy off of eBay or other retail purchasers, like directly from them. For example, we had to pick up a Vitamix that was broken, container that was broken here. So instead of going to Amazon and buying from Amazon, I went to the actual Vitamix Corporation and bought it directly from, I went on eBay. Wow. eBay sold it at half the freaking price.
Oh, wow.
That Vitamix container, which is, that Vitamix is amazing. But anyways, the retail on that at the Vitamix store is $149.95 for that container, rubber lid, all that kind of stuff. It's the best blender and food processor on the market. $149.95, okay? I went to eBay, found it for $80.93. New. Same thing. And you're going to help us support a small business. And if shipping was free, fast and free, it's not 2-day shipping, okay, but it's going to be, 5-day shipping, 5 to 7 days, business days. All right, so what? You wait a couple of days, but you're not funding the damn enemy. You're not funding the Washington Post by buying from Amazon. You're not funding Dr. Evil from Bezos from doing that. A colluder, conglomerate, corporate, monopolist, oligopolist, fascist, communist, hypocrite, who got successful in the free market and then wants to destroy the free market so he can maintain a monopoly. That piece of trash. Don't fund him. Don't be a little punk. Don't be a brain dead, troglodyte, lazy piece of trash and fund the damn enemy. Start being responsible and pull your money from that demon. Do it now. Stop procrastinating and being lazy troglodyte about it, and do your due diligence now, now, now. Stop perpetuating and funding evil. Pull your money and weapons from it now, today. Stop being an indolent, sanctimonious idiot. Stop funding the enemy of your family, the enemy of this republic, an enemy of sovereignty, an enemy of the President Trump, an enemy of the United States of Kennegook and America, an enemy of freedom, free markets, economics, trade, small businesses, you name it. He is an enemy of it all. And a deliberate, intentional propagandist to create disinformation and brainwash liberal lunatics to hate anything about sovereignty and God-given human rights. If you fund Dr. Evil, that is on you. You are colluding unintentionally. Now you know what you're doing. You are funding an enemy. At least reduce your purchases from Amazon. If you can't get rid of all of them today, reduce some of it. And do it over time. Start migrating off of it. But take action today. Don't procrastinate. We'll be right back after this short break. Act now!